Let's wait for Mimi to join. It's now live. Hey, wait, I'm gonna add you. Hi,
Hi, here we are again.
how are you? How are you?
I'm very well. I have to say that, we were going through a very warm spell in London when we last spoke. It was very hot. And
Yeah,
now we've started our autumn weather. So it's really cool and very pleasant.
my God, I'm missing it.
Come soon now. Flights are open.
Oh, I'm so glad I got a chance to come to your earlier home also once before you
You're going
moved.
to
Yeah,
love this one. You're going to
yeah,
love this one.
yeah. Can't wait, can't wait, can't wait.
Get on a plane now.
Yeah, I'm too scared to planes yet. I think I just need to muster the
No,
courage. No?
it's actually safer. There's a lot of research that shows you that because the entire air in an aircraft is changed literally every 3 minutes, you're safer in an aircraft than you're in your own home.
I read that article. I read some article that aircraft, but it's also the whole journey, the process, the airports, the fomite infection. I don't know. It's a bit scary. Maybe.
I don't think so. I think you have to be reasonably cautious and follow things like your face coverings, you're washing your hands. But
Yeah.
beyond that, I think that one has to live one's life,
Right. Right. No, I think
within the,
yeah, it's about time that we moved on.
yeah,
Okay, begin, Mimi,
yeah.
my darling friend Mimi. I'm going to do a quick introduction for you as always.
Okay.
Mimi is a successful technocrat. She's a partner at Ernst& Young. She's been living in London and she's very fond of all these, Eastern philosophies like Hinduism, Buddhism, Sufism. And she and I share a great rapport in terms of I love listening to her talk and share her knowledge about all these lovely subjects. So I'm very happy to have you here. Welcome to Decoding Life with Anshul Mimi. And
Thank you.
subject today is relationships in a quantum universe. Firstly,
Yes.
to us the concept of a quantum universe. What do we mean when we say quantum universe?
Fantastic question, actually, Anchal. I think, science is discovering what the ancients already knew. So if you look at what quantum physics is primarily based on, it is
Yeah.
looking at particles which are beyond subatomic. So there's subatomic and then sub-subatomic, at the smallest level. And in the ancient books, this was actually called the Bindu. So we
Okay.
already knew about the Bindu
Okay.
in thousands of years ago, which is the finest, the smallest level of matter, basically.
Okay.
And at that level, matter doesn't follow the physical laws that we talk about in the macro world,
Okay.
of gravitational forces, etc. So you find that in the quantum world, first of all, we're saying particles. I use the term very loosely because there are no particles. There are only frequencies. There's only
Okay.
vibration and there are only waves at that level, which with perception appear to be particles. So this itself, first of all, tells you that we don't live in a solid world at all, you
So
know.
you like a table and a chair that we consider solid, that we are
Yeah.
studying the
So
molecules. Are
at
you
the
saying
very quantum level of this world, they are all just frequencies. And that is why, in some of our things like Hatha Yoga, for example, people are able to walk on water or walk through walls, the true Hatha Yogis of the ancient. Now, this is
wow?
not black magic. And the reason is if you and I see a wall, we see a solid object, we perceive
Yeah.
a solid object. They
Yeah.
perceive the space. There is immense space between the frequencies and particles in that wall. So if they perceive the space, they are able to walk through it. So
Right.
it is just a case of perception. And in a very practical way to say how the mind affects your perception is, you know, if you keep a plank of wood on your floor and walk on it, a narrow plank of wood, you're very happy to do it. It means nothing. Place
Yeah.
that plank between two cliffs
Right.
and then try to walk on it. It's the dread fear of your mind. Really, your balance is the same and the plank is the same, you
Right.
know? So everything is perception.
It's very hard to accept this concept that everything is just energy and it's moving. We do know we can touch and feel solid objects. So is this accepted in science? Is it
No.
accepted? No, right?
Actually, at the quantum level, you have never touched anything in real life, really. You've never touched anything.
Okay.
It is just a perception of your mind. See, if you look at it, everything that your brain interprets is based on your sensory perceptions and
Okay.
your historic memory of it. So you'll
Okay.
often find that, you know, for babies, for example, everything they experience initially is through the mouth.
Okay.
They want to put anything you give a child, they'll put it in the mouth first because they
Yeah.
experience everything through that sense, whilst the other senses are still
Correct.
developing. The mouth sense is developed because the baby has to feed itself from birth.
Correct.
So that's the only sense they initially have. So for them, the way they touch and feel everything initially is through the mouth.
Okay.
And then gradually the other senses, and then the memories develop, which let you interpret. So for you today, it's a table, it's a chair, it's hard, it's soft. It is whatever has been conditioned and programmed into you. Maybe your dog is not perceiving it like that. Maybe your dog is seeing it in black and white in a totally different shape. So what
Right.
is the universe actually?
Right.
So it is all based on how your brain is interpreting your sensory input. Even if you see, what is vision today, what do you see when we say we have sight? It's a
Yeah.
mystery, isn't it? Because actually the light particles hit your eye through this tiny, tiny lens,
Yeah.
through your eye, and it's interpreted by the brain, but nobody really knows why we are actually seeing things in such a large dynamic world. You should be seeing something very micro based on your lens. And,
Correct.
why we are all seeing the same thing as well, that continuity. If it's
Correct.
all interpretation, why is my brain interpreting it exactly like yours to the minutest detail? So there are lots of things we don't know. I think one of the things to totally understand is that we know very little about our real world. This is the veil of Maya, of illusion,
Right.
that we live in. And it's being explained in the quantum world now by saying that actually all you have is frequency. And of course, the most famous quantum experiment of all times, which is the double slit
Okay.
experiment, shows you that particles, or when you bombard a surface with particles which have, and there are two slits on that surface, the
Okay.
wave patterns that form at the back, they appear to be particles when there is human intervention, or when there is any intervention, when we perceive it. But without that intervention, they are in the field of all potentiality. So they appear as waves, not as particles. So
Right.
it's the human perception that makes them behave like particles. So it's very, very, it's mystical, I would say, that when you go into that quantum level of science, it is absolutely mystical. And I think that there are some new age physicists. I'm a big fan of Nassim Haramein,
I know.
who has, for me, he's the first person who's actually started explaining things in a manner that makes sense and that ties in with ancient wisdom, where
Right.
we are all in this huge, in this massive, all-pervading energy.
Yeah.
We are in this energy field, and we are
Right.
all connected now, whatever you want to call that. Because
Right.
science had no formula to say why the quantum world is behaving differently from the macro world, and they just created out of the box something called dark matter, and they said 99.99% of the universe is dark matter. But what is this dark matter, and how can you just create something just to make a formula work? The
Right.
reality is that everything that pervades is actually energy, and that has been started being explained by people like Nassim Haramein now, who are finding a lot of acceptance. But I think it was important to set the stage to understand our discussion today on relationships.
Right. Because to that as usual, I think I'm extremely fascinated by everything that you're saying. And viewers who are here today, they must know that, one of my main points of connection with Mimi has always been the fact that she has immense knowledge on this subject, and it's always so fascinating to hear her. And every time I have a conversation with her, I learn something new. So I think I'm still finding it very difficult to accept this concept of quantum universe. But let's get down to now quantum universe. We were talking on the phone a while ago, and what
You're breaking up, Achal. I don't know if you can hear me, but I can't hear you very clearly.
why you can't hear me, but can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so now let's get down to actually relationships in a quantum universe and what we mean by that in the first place.
Yeah.
And
So there's a very, so first of all, we've set the stage by saying that we are all in this huge field of energy. So all of life is connected.
right,
Everybody is connected, even though at the moment our perception is of individuality. We
right,
talked about it a little bit even in our last discussion, where we are like waves in the ocean, but the wave
right,
is made up of the ocean. So
right,
in that sense, the entire universe is connected, and even some of the things we are facing today is making people realize that, because we have COVID today, and we're saying we're all accepting it's because of the way we have treated every other species, the way we have
correct,
treated nature.
correct,
So Gaia, we are one organism,
correct,
even as a planet, but beyond the planet as a universe. So when you
correct.
look at this, when you look at relationships in this context, there's a very
Yes.
interesting concept in quantum physics, which is of that of tangled particles.
Okay.
So in nature, particles tangle automatically, but you can today also prove it by doing it in a laboratory. So you
Okay.
can tangle subatomic particles. And
Okay.
once they're tangled forever. And then space and time, the continuum of space and time,
Has no
has no
meaning.
impact on them. It is
Right.
meaningless to a tangled particle. So what happens is that you can have a tangled particle in a laboratory in California and another one in Mumbai. And whatever you do to the tangled particle in California is reflected to the one in Mumbai. So
Right.
this shows you that connection is way beyond time and space. This energy field that connects us is the only thing that explains it. So
Right.
if you apply that to a relationship and start looking at some of the issues you face in a relationship or how you relate to one another based on your knowledge that you are in a connected energy field, you'll
Right.
start seeing that you'll have a very different perception of what is going on in your life actually.
Right. I'm going to interrupt you here for a second, and I know that I know you've watched it, but you remember the movie that I made, For Whom the Bell Tolls, and the underlying theme behind when I was doing my research for this movie. Of course, it's based on cancer and everything, but there's this poetry by John Donne, and the whole concept of this was that what the phrase this means, For Whom the Bell Tolls, is that if there's anyone, if there's any death anywhere in the world, we are all affected by it. We may not understand this, we may not believe it, but we are. And I think
Yes.
I'm going to take the example here right now of, say, for example, this whole thing that is going on right now with Sushant Singh Rajput's death. It's just unreal how everyone seems to be feeling it for whatever reason, whether they know him, whether they don't know him, whether they watched his movies, not watched his movies. It seems to have taken a toll on the collective consciousness in this country and, frankly, even the world, that it's so unreal. And I know so many people who've actually had him in their dreams, and I don't know how that. So I guess it's very connected to what you're saying, that actually we are all so interconnected. Even if we don't
Yes.
know people in the world, we are somehow linked and connected to them. And their
Absolutely.
death affects our lives. We something a part of us. So
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah,
That's a great example as well, whether it's COVID, whether it's the death of a famous celebrity that is now being discussed. At some level, we are all feeling it because we are a related and connected universe. And you cannot not be impacted. And this is where, there is also the collective memory. And that is
right,
why that common programming that we talked about that impacts our perceptions, etc.
right,
And also, I
right,
think it's an interesting time we live in because, when you delve and research into these, and there are a lot of very learned people who are talking about all this today. If you go on the internet, you'll see it
yeah,
and hear it if that is your interest. And, there is a general perception that we are living in a time of sea change, of huge change now. And
correct,
this change that's coming about is something that is positive. It is
yeah,
in order to save mankind, but then again, mankind can't be saved in isolation as a species.
Right.
It is about bringing back, a level of goodness in the universe. And
Right.
if you look at the evolution of man, we know that life is constantly evolving. So you can't be without evolution. If you
Right.
look at the next stage of evolution in mankind, it is going to be this evolving consciousness. Your
Right.
inner consciousness now has to evolve. And that is why, some of, like you said, people are starting to feel the death. They're not no longer uh, unconcerned
Correct.
about
Correct.
others. They're starting to feel it more. And the planet is, I'm a great fan of technology. You know that I'm a technocrat myself, because
Yes.
it allows for communication to happen worldwide as well.
Right.
So people are made aware, and there is that. But at the very deepest level, in some way, the transience of your current existence. And that
Right.
is why death affects you. There's a
Right.
very interesting, there's a very beautiful poem actually called Spring and Fall,
Okay.
which was, I think it was in the school syllabus, or my mother, who was, quite literary, and she was literature graduate, but a sociologist later on.
Right.
Um, we discussed it. So the spring and fall, why I bring it up is that it's very interesting, because there's a little girl in the poem who's standing with her father, and she sees the autumn leaves falling, and it's autumn now. So I can relate to that. And when it's falling, she starts crying because she sees the death of the tree.
Right.
And the father explains to her that you are grieving for this, but in the end, he says it is actually Eva you grieve for. So Eva is the name of the girl. In
Okay.
the temporariness of that tree, she sees her own inevitable impermanence.
Impermanence and death. Right. 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 Right.
And it is your own that you recognize in the death of others. But I think
Right.
the good news is it is genuinely like changing a garment. Death
Right.
is beautiful. I'm
Right.
not encouraging people to die. Please don't get me wrong, but don't
Yeah.
fear it. It is an
Right.
absolute release from this stool sharir, this heavy body of yours, and you feel light and liberated, and it is the lifting of the veil. And you do come back to complete your journey and to learn this is a reality, whether you
Right.
accept it or not. So, going back to our topic, because there's so many interesting things we talk about.
Digress. We talk, but
Everywhere. Let's apply this tangled universe theory to relationships and see, look at some of the ordinary things that we experience. Let's start with that. So, for
yeah.
example, when you're in a relationship, especially for young people,
Yes.
there's always this thing about, will he text, will he message, should I call, who should take the
Right.
initiative? Does it look like I'm chasing him? No, I'm suffering and but I'm not going to pick up the phone. These are very
Right.
common situations that everybody will relate to. And
Right.
the reality is, whether you pick up the phone or you send a message, it doesn't matter. The energy that you're experiencing inside yourself is
Yeah.
already communicated to that other person like two tangled particles, you
Right.
know? So it is not as if you don't have a conversation, but inside you're pining and missing this person, that
Yeah.
energy is not relayed to that person. It is relayed to that person. So you don't
Right.
really, it doesn't matter if you ask me whether you text or you don't text,
Right. Right.
but it's hard to perceive life like that, but that's the truth of it.
Right.
That's where they say, that what is that in Hindi, they say something, no, pure kainat, something
हाँ,
tumhare saath hai.
पूरी कायनात देने में
The
whatever.
universe conspires to work with you,
Big concept
whether
of
for a,
yes, 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 yes. But so tell me, then, if we are so strongly connected, and if we have such a strong connection and communication, why is it that in relationships very often this can be like a one-sided relationship, where there's an intense feeling from one person on one side and not from another person? Shouldn't it then by default be mutual? How do you explain this?
so it is not as if the other person is not impacted by your energy, but
Right.
how they choose to reciprocate to that is
Right.
their free will, and it's also your karmic connections.
Right.
So we all come with our karmas to this planet to fulfill them, right? So it is also because in your karmic history, if
Right.
you're not meant to be together, then
Right.
or you're meant to be together for some time and part, these are completely driven by karmas
Right.
and your past actions, but you
Right.
can also overcome them. See, bottom line is, um, as I said, your relationships are not in isolation. So if you
Right.
want to have a great relationship, you also have to be that person within you. You
Understood.
have to be a really good human being, and
Yeah.
all your relationships have to work. You cannot be a great girlfriend and
Yes.
a terrible daughter, as an
Right.
example.
Right.
Your relationships, you have to be in harmony with all of your environment, in all of your relationships, for anyone, and good will come to your life easily. And also,
Right.
I think, don't, you'll notice where in life that the things that are meant to come to you, they come very easily. Those
Easily.
doors open very easily.
Yes.
And
And that thing actually never really works out very well for you. Right?
exactly,
Yeah. Where
exactly,
there's
when
too
you're trying to push the door open, it doesn't open. So don't
yeah,
push,
you work
because
on a which is not working. You're really trying to get that job which is not happening. They say
yeah,
let what's meant to come to you will come very easily and flow very easily in your life. When
exactly,
right and
very
when your
true.
is right. When
Yeah,
your
so
own
yeah, so I think it's very, very important to also recognize that. And also, I think, a lot of, as I said, because these conversations, so if you look at conflict situations in relationships,
right.
since your energies are being exchanged, things like being passive aggressive, it
Right.
doesn't work, because just because you're not saying anything to the person and you're keeping silent, please don't think that your energies which are outputting that negative force is not reaching that person. There are experiments today people like Deepak Chopra have done, which are so interesting,
Right.
because in like tangled particles, there are relationships where you're tangled. For example, with your mother is one of the closest relationships where you're always tangled, because you've literally come from her womb.
Yes.
And where you're very close friendship or any genuine relationships, the
Right.
experiment that Deepak and others have done is that they have seated people. They take their brain graph, and they've seated them in two separate continents
Okay.
in a lead tent,
Okay.
because lead is that material that doesn't let
Yes.
even your
And
mobile waves
yeah.
penetrate, etc.
Yeah.
And when one person thinks strongly of the other person, you can
Yeah.
see the brainwave responding automatically.
Right. Right.
This is proven science. It's available to check. There are other experiments where, for example, animals, they're so intuitive. There are experiments that shows if a master leaves his dog alone at home, and he has gone away for 2 days or whatever, traveled, in his hotel, the minute he has the thought that now I have to pack and go home, there are
Mhm.
CC cameras in the flat which show the dog getting excited and running around.
Right.
He has
Right.
only had the thought.
Yes.
So
Yes.
this world is happening totally at the energy level. And
Right.
if you the more you recognize that, what will also happen is you will start reading the signs of the universe. Over the
Right.
years I've practiced this, and I realize when something is happening and is indicative that this is the direction to take, whether it's your inner voice, whether it is you will start seeing what is meant for you, what is
Right.
not meant for you, and what
Right.
direction to take. So trust
Right.
your inner voice. The more you hear it, the more you will it will talk to you.
Right.
And you always know. See, you are all knowing, your divinity inside you.
Yes.
So you actually know. But what happens is we don't want to know sometimes.
We don't want to accept sometimes the reality of, because in the real world, in our space of ego, hopes and aspirations, we want what we want.
Yeah.
So difficult to accept sometimes that maybe that it's not aligning with what we want. Maybe we are not ready to accept. I don't know. So
Yeah, and
uh,
let's not confuse possession with loving. This is the other thing. The
okay.
most beautiful thing, there is that Buddhist monk lady, Prema, Ma Prema, I think her
Prema.
name is. She's very famous. I love her statement. She has said, "I love you" means you be happy. Whereas for
Right.
most of us, "I love you" means you make me happy.
Right. Right.
It is
Right.
not you make me happy, you be happy. If I
Yeah.
genuinely love you, I am going to, whether it's your child, whether stop clinging, stop
Yeah.
owning, because you can't, you own nothing, you can't even touch an object. That is the reality of the world. So
Right.
where is this ownership coming from?
Right. Right.
you know
Right.
let go is
Yeah.
the best thing. Let go, and what is yours will come to you is very true. And if you genuinely love, I think, you know, in this world, mother and child relationship is probably the most unselfish, because in that relationship you can, without expectations, you can be happy for them and you want them to flourish.
Right.
It's very, we don't apply that in our
Right.
man woman relationships, or, and you know, even the child doesn't apply it back to the relationship with the mother. It's only the mother who's
100.
able to apply it.
Absolutely. And even in relationships, right? We always say that, I'm looking for this in my partner. But there is this whole theory and concept that if you don't become what you want in the other person, you're not going to find it. And another person cannot come and complete you and fulfill all the things that you need, that you think that make you happy, because it has to come from you. It has to come from your own space. Once you start walking the talk, basically being
So true.
everything that you want a person to be, that's when you will start attracting that energy, uh, that those qualities in a person, basically, right?
It's so
Isn't that
true.
similar to what you're saying?
It's so true. It's 100% true. Actually, you're very wise about that, because you know what is, first of all, you know, I want this, trying to change somebody, trying to make somebody something else. None of this is
Yes.
actually the pathway to anything. You have to be a fulfilled
Yes.
person. You have to be at least a person on the path to your own fulfillment. I'm not saying we're all 100% fulfilled, but you cannot seek your fulfillment in another person. When two content
Right.
and happy people come together, there's a happy relationship.
Right.
It
Right.
can't be
Right.
that that person is completing you, because you are Purna Mother, you're complete on your own, you are divinity. And you have to find that within
Correct. Correct.
yourself, you know. And unless you
Right.
output
Right.
that positivism, you know, you're not going
Yes.
to truly love is, I think you can, you have the, to truly love is very simple. It's an unselfish love. That's all it is. It
Yes.
is
Because
not about getting.
of ego, and it's coming from a space of I.
Yeah.
Because really true love is that whether you're in my life or not, you be happy. And it's very different from the concept of unrequited love, because I know that a lot of these life coach and relationship coaches talk about how unrequited love is a rubbish theory, that actually it's really not. I disagree personally. I don't know
Yes.
what
I
on this,
agree with you.
but I do believe that love can never be conditional. It can never be subject on what you bring for me and how you make me feel, because if I love you, I'll love you and I'll be happy for you no matter what. But do you agree on this, though? Do you agree with it,
100%.
who say that unrequited love is bullshit, and it's just a
Love
mindset?
has so many forms. What is unrequited love? You know, you
Right.
love a person, you love that person. It's fine. I mean, you are experiencing, it's not even that person actually. You are experiencing an emotion, and a beautiful emotion. So
Right.
why, how can that be negative, first of
Right.
all? You know, so
Right.
this is where the unselfishness comes in. But I
Right.
think an interesting thing to talk about is also, you know, physical intimacy in a relationship. It's good
Right.
to talk about it, because I
Right.
think one of the things that is very important in our modern times, where you know, I'm not a prude and I'm not judgmental about it, but I think it's important for people to realize that when you are physically intimate with a person, you are sharing your innermost energies, you know, your Kundalini Shakti,
Absolutely.
your creative energy, which is coiled at the base of your spine,
More about
which,
your soul and your body when you're physically intimate with someone.
yeah, you're sharing your life creating energy,
Yeah.
which is your life giving force, which is the same energy which rises up your spine to give you salvation when you go into samadhi. So
Yeah.
that creative energy, which when it is called Shakti, or the female god, the female power, which is there in all human beings. It's not male or female. All human beings have this energy in them. And when you're physically intimate with a person, that energy is in your Mooladhara. It is in your lowest chakra
Right.
at the
Yes.
time. And
Yes.
you are sharing that energy, which is meant for procreation. Now,
Right.
I'm not saying that everybody has to immediately procreate, but I'm saying be aware of
Right.
how important and how fundamental this action is.
Right.
So, you know, don't treat it lightly, you
Right.
know, and it
Right.
does not happen also without some karmic links, first of all, you know,
Let's
but you're creating karma, which is
Yeah.
going to get fulfilled in some lifetime. So if
Yeah.
you keep having multiple partners,
on this a little bit, because I know that, you know, and again, like you said, not judging anybody, not being a prude or whatever, but I have never understood this concept of people, you know, getting physically intimate with people without having some kind of a spiritual connection, some kind of a soul connection. And I mean, it's clearly that somewhere they're probably not in tune with their own feelings, their own inner self, which is leading them to, you know, act in a certain way. But coming back to what you said, and I really want to understand this, because I also deeply believe this, that when you get to be a physically intimate with someone, there is some sort of karmic connection with that person, whether it is a past karmic connection, whether it is, like you're saying, you're creating a new karma. Um, how do you explain this? How do you explain that when you randomly meet someone, you develop a connection with someone? How do
So
you explain?
definitely what we call chemistry
Right,
is this whole mind-body connect. So there is actually chemistry. Your body is producing oxytocin and such other,
right,
positive chemicals at that moment. But why is it producing it for that one person? You're connecting again at an energy level, which could be
right,
driven by past karmas that you have shared.
right.
But you are also then, see, I'm not even judging something. Okay, let's talk about you meet, today's world, young people, they go and meet somebody in a bar and they might go home with that person. Well, what does that actually mean? It's always the intent. It's never
Yeah,
the action, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
if there has been honesty, if there has been transparency, if the two of them respect each other, they've enjoyed a great evening and they decide to go home together, that creates a different kind of karma. And on the other side, if you've met someone at a bar and you think, oh, let me just pick her up or pick him up, and there's a very base intent to the same action,
But do
then
you
that generates a different energy.
but do you believe that that also somewhere comes from a karmic space?
Yes,
That there's a
yes,
reason you are at that bar, this other person is at that bar.
yes,
All the million people that you could have reached out to, you end up reaching out to this person. Even if it's unknowing, do you believe that there is a
yes.
karmic there?
100%. And I think this is where we have to talk about if I had to use one word to describe divinity or supreme, the omnipresence, I
Yeah,
would call it intelligence. You
right,
see, there is intelligence in all creation, whether it is animate or inanimate. Even
right.
even iron knows at exactly what degree it has to melt.
Yes, yes, yes,
A
yes.
tree knows to be a tree and produce leaves, or there is complete intelligence in the universe, and everything is working to clockwork perfection.
Right,
So nothing is happening by chance. So
right.
when you meet someone and you have that energy and you have that exchange, then it is
There's
karmic. But let's pause over here once, because we also have free will. It
right,
is not that human beings don't have free will. Every
right,
time, the way I would describe it is that life is constantly creating crossroads for
right,
you,
right,
junctions
correct,
based on your karmas. And at each of those
right,
junctions, you have the opportunity to make a choice. And once
right,
you have used your free will to make that choice, they up to the next junction, the repercussions of that choice are predestined.
right,
So the
right,
choice is the free will. The result of those choices is the destiny you have chosen. So it's very funny that you're choosing your destiny along the way.
right.
So when you meet such a person, to your point, where even that temporary exchange has happened, you have a choice to go. You can always go beyond your karma. So this is where it depends on where you are in your spiritual journey. If you think of I come from a Hindu background, but all religions have similar things in their writings. But
Right.
in the Vishnu Sahasranam, the 1,000 names of Vishnu, they
Yes.
say, one of the Sahasranam is Karma Dhvamsinne Namaha, which
Okay.
means the one who takes you beyond your karmas, who can destroy your karmas. And that is not some external Vishnu. Vishnu is the preserving energy within you. It
Yeah.
is a representative of your preserving energies,
Right.
because once you are born, the creative energies have worked and you're born.
Right.
Everything that happens in this world that you manifest is part of that preserving energies. We breathe, we grow our hair, we get fat, we get thin. This is all preservation
Right.
energies, which is
Right.
in every cell of your body. So
Right.
the divinity in you always has the option to break out of that karma. So, for
Right.
example, you know, in the context of a relationship, if you are in a very conflictive relationship where there's constant argument and pressure, you can either go with your karmic flow and continue that conflict, but you always have the choice to rise beyond it.
Right.
And then if you do, you destroy that karmic link. Then you're not coming back in this dance life after life to finish your karmas with that person because you have generated more bad karma with them. So
Right.
at every stage, you've got that opportunity to be the best.
Mimi, I know our conversations are endless. We've actually also exceeded our time limit. I'm going to tell our viewers that if there's any questions for Mimi, you can ask now. But I've had again, it's for me, it's always sticking when you talk. So I want to do a chat with you now on free will versus karma. So I think that should be our next topic. And I've actually been dying.
Beautiful topic, huh? Very smart, Achal, to have zeroed in on that.
Yes, because you spoke about that. We can have an entire chat on that. Yes, yes, Shweta, I can listen to Mimi also all day. This is why she's on my chat. We
Oh,
come.
thank you, Shweta. That's so sweet.
Reason I visit London, Shweta, by the way, because I get Mimi's undivided attention and I get so much to learn from her. And
Come
that is
soon.
yeah, that's the only reason I visit London, because that's when I have her all to me. But anyway, let's do this free will versus karma next Thursday. And I'm actually dying to do a chat with Avi as well. And I'll keep telling him that, let me finish all the ones with Mimi and I'll do one with you. But let's do this one, Mimi. And
Sure.
I listen to all. No, I don't believe Avi listens to
Are
anything
we
that we
saying he
say.
listens to me
Not
all day? Lucky me.
okay. I'm finding that very
No,
hard to
I'm very blessed. You know, they say children come to you, they're either creditors who have come from previous karma or they're divine blessings. I think both my kids are divine blessings.
I agree, because I love them both dearly as well. And thank you very much, Mimi. I have always enjoyed this conversation so much. And more than anything else, I'm really glad that I'm able to have these conversations with you on a public forum instead of just in person, because
Us
everyone can
enjoying
then
it
benefit.
together.
And not just that, everyone can benefit from your immense knowledge. So thank you very
So
much for
sweet.
being
I'm
on
just
Decoding Life.
learning. Thank you,
To
Achal.
all our friends who thank you. Thank you. And I'll
Thanks.
see you next Thursday. Free will versus
Yes,
karma.
we will. All right, for sure. I've really enjoyed chatting. Thanks, Achal, for having me, and thank you to your whole audience for being here. It's been lovely, and we'll chat more. Bye.
Thank you. See you soon. Bye, darling. Bye.